Hello, I'm Vortex, and it's going to be a video where I'm going to pontificate and philosophize about simulation, sort of the metaverse, and just some thoughts about what sort of effect I think that might have on our culture, mentally, spiritually, and all the rest of it, socially. So, I mean, pretty much just ruminations and improvised intuitions, possibly, about the sort of social effect. I've got a bit of a cold at the minute, so I apologise if I cough at any point or otherwise seem a bit drained, just because I am very drained. I feel like warmed up crap currently, so my throat there. Anyway, bada bing, bada bosh. So it seems like at present technology is advancing at such a rate that we're going to be in a world which is more, like based on ideas that have been explored, and I guess like 80s cyberpunk, like Neuromancer or Snow Crash, of course. Neuromancer I've read, but not Snow Crash actually. I'm not really familiar with that. Although I know that the metaverse idea is or concept is very influenced by Snow Crash. But yeah, it seems like there's going to be a lot of money going into this metaverse concept. I'm going to admit that I've not been so impressed with the actual sort of prototypal spaces that I've seen so far. It looks like just a sort of second life. Not very inspiring, particularly. Not very creative. I mean, basically like low poly characters in an simulated office space. I mean, fucking how corporate and boring could you get, really? I mean, obviously, I think this AR and VR has got potentially interesting applications, but to be honest, what I've seen from Meta so far has not been anything that's certainly awe-inspiring to me. And I think one thing is that if we're going to build a virtual world, right, why are we trying to replicate the real world? Why do that? Why try and create some sort of faux version of reality? If we're making a virtual space that we can go into where we can explore ourselves, our inner natures, our desires, our imagination, I don't want it to look like fucking real life. What's all that about? What? Oh yeah, I'm going to talk to. I'm going to have a virtual Zoom environment. Fuck's sake, it's like almost a dystopian sort of. Just such a severe lack of imagination. I'm going to have a cartoon avatar and fucking, just do basically what you do on Zoom, except with a cartoon avatar. Fuck me. But I mean, I think there is potential good uses for this technology. Like, I'm not like cynical that much about it. I think potentially for medical uses, technological uses, games, it'll be interesting for games. I'm trying to think at the minute actually about ways that you could, because I'm a developer, a game developer, and more recently as an AR developer. I've been working with augmented reality, so I actually work on this stuff in my career. So I'm not like completely cynical about it, but also I think it leaves what we've seen so far leaves a little to be desired from there. I mean, obviously they're going to develop systems, and one thing I do worry about actually, because Meta has control over it, which Facebook essentially, is they will sort of have a stranglehold on the distribution of the technology, and they'll be the one dominating company in terms of how data is used, how stored, how it develops. I mean, I'm not having a go at Facebook engineers. I mean, they're very, very talented engineers, obviously. But the actual, in terms of the morals and ethics of Facebook as a corporate entity, it leaves a lot to be desired, of course. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg's an especially good CEO of his company. I don't think he's taken the company in a particularly good direction, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, I think in a sense as well, it could sort of backfire on Facebook because they're sort of putting all their eggs in the basket of metaverse. I mean, which in a sense you probably have to do with technology, developing technology. Sometimes you have to invest a lot of money for something really revolutionary to emerge. Because it just takes a lot of money. You've got to pay for the hardware, the R&D, the developers, all that. But I think potentially what I, not that I'll ever be at that level, but what I would have done if I was in his position was probably to stake or research or look into several different areas, like to develop several silos, and instead of putting all the eggs in one basket of the metaverse, just invest more in like multiple R&D streams, research and development streams around the areas of VR and AR probably, but not sort of putting everything into this one concept. I think ideally, if there is going to be a new paradigm in how the internet evolves, this might be a bit hippie or optimistic or whatever, but I think it should, in an ideal, I think, emerge organically. So, which isn't, in a sense, is a way of avoiding a real concrete way of the question, but that's sort of how I feel. Is that if we get, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting in the next 5 or 10 years, see how it evolves. I think one of the risks with it, of course, is that it becomes an attention. Because with all of these systems we have, like Facebook, Instagram, whatever, like Twitter, they already take your attention away from the real world to not always to your detriment, but often to the detriment of actually being a productive, creative member of society. So when you take that to the next level where it's more immersive, obviously you're going to have to, people are going to have to develop very well developed coping mechanisms for being able to unplug from that shit. Because if you can imagine that, even now it's too bad, really. And I'm not like pure of this myself. Sometimes I'll just waste time on Facebook and scrolling through the feed of crap that's just lowest common denominator shite, mate. You're just bored, so there's probably a notification just beeping there from Facebook. Probably Facebook anyway. And it's so easy to go into that because these apps are developed to take your attention away. Like I'm even unlocking my phone now just to quickly have a look, see what it is. And that's just from a beep. Now imagine if this interface is actually in your physical, it's not in your physical space, but it's like in a metaphysical space. It's more like, whereas the internet, currently you've got to access it through a screen, there's a layer there of separation between the sort of metaphysical space that you're exploring and your actual head. But when it comes to like headsets, AR, even AR, there's still a degree of separation because it's just layering on top of reality. But with VR, I mean, you're actually immersed in it's like sort of going through the looking glass, I suppose, to use this sort of very cliched metaphors. But yeah, I mean, it is really. It's like sort of you're going from one space, which is the world we all exist in, and transferring into another place. So yeah, I think probably the danger with that is that people will get lost in these simulated spaces. In a way, I think maybe that's all right. I think it's like you've got to take a degree of personal responsibility for how you use technology. I mean, you can't just not develop technology. You be a luddite or something and not develop technology because a few people might get lost in it. Well, they're the fools then if they do that. What we're going to do have the state sort of control utilisation of technology. That usually just gets used in a nefarious way, to be honest, doesn't it? So I don't think that's really an answer. I think we'll just have to develop as human beings psychologically we'll have to develop to the point where we don't lose our connection to reality. This is something I'm struggling with a bit myself at the minute because I've been very busy with my development work. I've been working for the last month and a half on a project, which is winding down a bit more now, though I still have to do bits and bobs, but I'm having to consciously make time to go to reading groups, go to writing groups, go out I went to up north to see my parents and just went for a walk in nature, and it's though simple, it's a very healing process to go through and do that actually, because you're not. It's good. It's good for thinking actually, just to unplug from the technology and. But yeah, but when it gets to a further level, it'll get even harder to do that. I can almost imagine people walking in a park with these VR headsets on, which would be the ultimate weird irony, surrounded by all this beauty and they're just lost. But I guess for potential good things for this technology, I think in terms of storytelling and narratives, that could be very powerful for that, actually. Sort of developing a sort of empathy, so you can tell like I don't know, historical tales and be in the eyes of someone who's experiencing like a war zone or whatever, just to sort of develop an empathy. You can use it. I think it's got potentially good mental health benefits. Something as simple as just there already are loads of things like this, like immersive VR environments that sort of relax you in some sense. I've actually got my Oculus Rift again. I'm going to go for one now, but I want to finish the video in a minute. But I've got my Oculus Rift dev kit here actually. It's just up there. There it is. And so I might try playing around with some VR stuff. Again, I've done like a bit of VR dev in the past, but nothing really in depth. But yeah, I think that's probably been enough for a ramble. I'll leave it at that. What do you think? That's the questions to the audience. What do you think of the potential benefits and pitfalls are of the metaverse and Facebook Meta plan to embrace this technology and develop this technology? What do you think about Facebook having, Meta having the control of it? What do you think do you think that's a good thing? Do you see it as a negative? You somewhere in the middle? So yeah, put some comments below. Always good to have some engagement. I've been Noah Vortex. Most of my channel is going to be this now. It's just my place to philosophize and yeah. I did a talk recently. You should watch it, see if you're interested, on some ideas in London. But yeah, okay. Yeah. Have a good one.